Look, it's always good to get outside perspective on what's going on with your team and what's going on with the teams that you're playing. And this week, we have a special treat. I'm bringing on Justin MELO from the Draft Network. He also covers the Tennessee Titans. It's been an interesting year for this, but because he does do that work at the Draft Network, he has had an eye on what the Browns have done so far in this rookie class. Justin, well, just like to open this up, your thoughts on what this rookie class was able to achieve for the Browns and just kind of like put in perspective, like how good of a class you think it is.
Well, it's been as good as advertised, right? And I feel comfortable saying it's the best rookie class in the entire NFL. And when you've got the record that the Browns have right now, you're looking for future solutions, right? Like you're in fact finding mode and trying to figure out what's going to work for you in 2026 as you prepare to try to field a more competitive team. And on that front, it's been great news for the Browns. I mean, it's within the realm of possibility that on the defensive side of the ball, I know it's not fully a rookie thing, but they might have the defensive player of the year. I mean, certainly they're going to have the defensive player of the year in Myles Garrett and the defensive rookie of the year in Carson Schwessinger, right? Like that's not something that happens very often. So you look at the building blocks on that side of the ball. I mean, that linebacker, sideline to sideline, he's been everywhere. Liked him a lot coming out of UCLA. The speed, the vision, the range to trigger downhill, just playing with a lot of decisiveness, a veteran amount of decisiveness, the way he's playing right now. But you look everywhere. Quinshon Judkins, obviously that debut was delayed. Whether it was due to the contract dispute, whether it was due to the off-field situation he was dealing with throughout the offseason, he's come in and just I think he's been the best rookie ball carrier in the league. I mean, you look at some of those first round guys, Aston Ginty hasn't been able to get anything going. A lot of that due to the Raiders offensive line. Omarion Hampton's been out for a long time with the injury. I don't think there's been a better rookie ball carrier than Quinshon Judkins. I mean, and before he got on the field, it's crazy. It's like they're pulling running backs out of what. Like Dylan Sampson played well in week one.
Yeah.
What it looked like he was going to be the guy before Ohio State kid got on the field. So this class, I mean, Harold Fannin Jr. has been a weapon at tight end. He's been good in the red zone, scored a couple of touchdowns for them. They've used him everywhere. He's been a bit of a gadget weapon on occasion as well. Like, you can't say enough good things about this rookie class. And for me, it's been the best in the NFL. And it's really much a building block for them going forward.
Yeah, we're going to continue this conversation with Justin MELO of the Draft Network. But real quick, got to thank my sponsor, Sleeper. Real quick, just want to let you guys know Sleeper has a new offer here. They're offering a free $20 entry, no deposit required. And also, if you're a first-time user, you also will receive a 100% match on up to $100 when you use the promo code WORSTTAKE. Again, $20 free, no deposit required. Plus, first-time users also receive a 100% deposit match up to $100. Join Sleeper. Yeah, let's stick with the defensive side of the ball because like what they did there, right? It was kind of controversial, right? Where the offense is where they are to spend those two picks on defense. But, I think the Browns' philosophy is, and this is a philosophy I agree with, if the player ain't good, you ain't filling no hole on the team, right? Like, that's kind of how I've always viewed it. People want to get certain positions, and they want to grocery shop in the draft. But the draft is not really a grocery shop kind of situation like free agency, where this guy's a quality tight end. He's had 3-4 good years in the league. You're prospecting there, and it's like, when you're mining for gold, you can't be specific, right? You're just trying to get some gold. And I think that's kind of how the draft has to work if you're a GM. But getting Mason, him being productive, especially after the bye week, as a rookie defensive tackle. And when I watch him on tape and I watch how he's able to win, it's like, okay, he can win with like his fluidity, his flexibility, really strong hands. And I just think of it, I'm like, if you're trying to project up, I'm like, hey, when he gets to that age where most three techs really start to hit their stride around like 25, 26 years old, when they start to, develop that grown man strength that you need in the NFL, because just a world of difference in the trenches between college and in the NFL. That's going to be somebody where he's going to be a very difficult force to block. You look at Carson Schlesinger, what's been so impressive is like he is able to handle being on the island on like sweeps versus dangerous guys. Lamar Jackson had him out on the island, right, in the Baltimore game, and Carson Schlesinger was able to just mirror his hips and then just attack him. And then the same thing happened with Christian McCaffrey this week, right, where they tried to pull him out. Let's get him free out there, get a guard on him. He's able to lose the guard and find McCaffrey. And that's the kind of stuff where you watch it and you're like, oh, okay, there's good linebackers, there's serviceable guys who are going to get you a ton of tackles. And then there's that. Like, that's a playmaker at a different level.
And that's why they took him where they took him. You know, I know for a fact that what scouts liked about him the most, Schlesinger, of course, I'm talking about, was the range and the ability in space, just the speed, ability to trigger sideline to sideline. I mean, he covers every blade of grass. And as you said, if you can do that against a Lamar Jackson or a Christian McCaffrey, that is what separates the serviceable linebackers from the truly special ones. And I legitimately believe the Browns have a truly special linebacker on their hand. Going back to Mason, I didn't even talk about him in my first spiel. They got so many damn rookies playing at a high level, you kind of forget the first one. And with Mason, I think you hit the nail on the head. He's gotten better already as the year has gone by. First couple weeks were a little bit quiet, but you've seen a couple of games where there's been the flashes. It's the tip of my tongue. There was a breakout game for him, like week 4, week 5, I believe it was, where he showed really what he's capable of. I'll tell you, I had a really high grade on him pre-draft. And I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I never bought into the nonsense like, oh, the arm length. Like, there was all kind of stuff. You started to see mock drafts. He was going 10, 11, 12 overall. I had a top 5 grade on this kid. I mean, the first step quickness, the explosiveness, he moves so well for his size, and the ability to win with power too. And I think he's shown that, both of those things, in spurts for the Browns this year. And as you said, give him 25, 26, when those 3 techs start to come into their own, I'm really confident saying this guy is going to be one of the best 3 techs in the NFL. Like, when I watched him pre-draft, I thought, okay, Quinnen Williams, Jeffrey Simmons, Chris Jones, the best pass rushing 3 techs in the league. That's what the potential says for Mason Graham. And that's what I've seen enough of on tape this year to say that I'm confident he's going to get to that level.
Yeah, and it's like 3 tech can be such a slept-on position in the NFL, but when you have a great 3 tech, it's like nothing better in the world, right? Like, to have that guy, right? I was watching clips last week of Jeffrey Simmons just wrecking house against the Houston Texans. I remember Jeffrey Simmons almost single-handedly got the Titans past the Bengals in a playoff game a few years ago, right? Like, I always say this: you will find bad defenses without good 3 techs in them all the time. You always see it. You won't find a great defense without good 3 techs at the very minimum, right? They're just so important. And then you add Carson Schlesinger, what he can do, and really what the Browns have done a great job in is they have put offensive coordinators in a bind when it comes to Myles Garrett, because everybody's game plan is, how do we avoid Myles, right? And for years you had answers. Oh, we're going to attack the middle of the line. We're going to just pull out. We're going to go wide here and just run away from Myles. Now with Schlesinger being able to patrol all that space that he can cover, it's like, I don't feel comfortable sweeping this ball out here, right? So you take that part away, and it's like, okay, well, we're just going to triple Myles Garrett, and we're just not going to worry about these 3 techs in the middle here. And then you get guys winning those 2-way goals, and it's like, well, I like ask Geno Smith. He had less fun in the second half when they was like, hey, let Myles just get one-on-ones, man, versus what they were doing in the first half, which was, hey, let's just keep letting these guys on the interior feast. And they eventually had to say, okay, we're gonna live with what Myles can do to us. And being able to put offensive coordinators in that bind where they can't really avoid Myles, and they just have to say, hey, we're going to deal with them. It's the equivalent to if you have Shohei Ohtani on your team and you're the Dodgers and making it so you can't really pitch around him. And that you have to deal with Shohei. And that's when you see the numbers explode in the way that you've seen them explode with Miles, is because what they have done with this draft is like, hey, you cannot avoid Myles Garrett anymore. Like they're getting better with talent around, but they're also getting better overall because they're saying, all these little cute ways you used to try to like dodge around Miles, we're taking them away. And if you try to throw the ball quickly, you're throwing right to Denzel Ward, who can cover as much ground in a little time as anybody in the NFL. So, have fun dealing with that. And I think that's really taken, especially Miles's game number-wise, to a different level, because it's like, well, it used to be a lot of stuff you could do to avoid Miles if you just got tired of it. Now it's like, what do you do?
I'll tell you, Quincy, as a Blue Jays fan, I didn't appreciate your Shohei Ohtani reference. I'm still getting over that
apologies.
wound.
That was tough. I was watching that one. I was like, I don't know how you recovered from that one. It's going to
take a long time for me to get past that one. I'll tell you that right now. But, you hit the nail on the head once again, because and Jim Schwartz, by the way, is a really good defensive coordinator. So the Browns got a great coaching staff down there. And last year they were weak up the middle, man. They were really weak up the middle. People were able to run the football on them. The way that they have transformed the middle of that defense in not even just one offseason, in one draft, because with adding Carson and adding Mason Graham has just made the world of a difference. And I'll tell you this, like, no one wants to maybe acknowledge the possibility it's going to be better next year. Like, I don't know that Miles puts up the same numbers next year, because he's having probably the best season I've ever seen from a defensive end. So I'm not going to go to the space and say maybe he puts up better numbers next year. But I think collectively, they're probably a better defense next year, because he's still going to put up great numbers, whether it's single season sack record or it's 18 or 19 sacks next season. And you add another year, not only of Carson, who's already playing at a high level, but to me, another year of Mason, where I think he's going to be significantly better next year than he's been this year. As there's no easy button answers built in for an offensive coordinator. And you talked about them, not having the 3-tech last year, not having that linebacker last year. Ask any head coach in the league, you want to deal with interior pressure or you want to deal with pressure off the edge? They're almost always going to pick pressure off the edge, because they think they can coach around that. And a great quarterback steps up into the pocket, buys himself that little bit of extra time. You could do that against the Browns last year. You can't do it against them this year, right? So when you don't have those answers baked into the offense, you get what you're getting this year, and that's, we don't have any answers for the Browns defense.
Yeah, now the defense, it's interesting what they did with this draft class, right? With the pieces that they got on defense, it was like the icing on top of the cake, right? Like, okay, we have good foundation, really good veterans here. Just get these two pieces that's really going to crown that piece. It's finished, right? That defense is just in the oven cooking. It's only going to go in. You got young guys there right on the line. Isaiah McGuire, Alex Wright, Mason Graham. It's going to get younger. They're young. They're going to get better. That's going to be what carries whatever your next run is if you're Cleveland, if you're envisioning a next run here. Now, offensively, the task was much different, right? You aren't getting those finishing pieces on offense. I could see a world where if the Browns had a great offensive line and a couple of wide receivers on this team and maybe a quarterback, right? If we were at a place to where maybe the Chargers are, and then you get Quincy, you get Harold, you're like, oh, we finished the build, right? But they kind of got some of these pieces that you would kind of assume are kind of will go at the end of a rebuild and fit really nicely. But since they need the offensive line, there's huge questions at the quarterback position, right? I think their appreciation of these pieces hasn't been what it could be if they were a more complete team. But you talk about what Harold's doing here at the tight end position. He's putting up receiving numbers that are comparable to what some of the better wide receivers in this class are doing, right? And then Dylan Sampson, like if Quinshon wasn't on this team, I think we'd be really impressed with him. I think I've been impressed watching him play. He's gotten much better. Maybe he needs to get a little bit bigger so he can do the pass sets that he wants to. But it's not for a lack of trying or a lack of instinct that he can't pass block. It's just he's not big enough yet. That's just a thing. You got to get bigger in the NFL. That's why it takes time to get good, right? And then with Quinshon, I think what's been so impressive is that he has had as bad as an offensive line dealt to him as you can get dealt. And he is still finding ways not to just be productive, but to get chunk plays out of this rushing offense. And also, like, I think this made me look at Chip Kelly sideways when I saw how Quinshon ran in Cleveland versus how he ran on tape in Ohio State. Ohio State, he ran like Kareem Hunt, where it's like one cut downhill shot out of a cannon. That's what I thought we were getting. He comes to Cleveland, and Deuce Staley got him out here patiently cutting sometimes, like he's Le'Veon, right? Like really just seeing and cutting vision with the vision and all of that. And I'm like, wow, what did Chip Kelly do to this guy? And then you look at like Ashton Genty there, and like he's arguing with him about his pre-snap positioning and all of this. And I when he got fired, I was like, I bet this was a thing coming, because it's like, you got to look at him a little sideways with these running backs sometimes. And people kind of forgot about it because Ohio State was able to just brute force things. But yeah, it's seeing how those two pieces, especially Quinshon and Harold Fainin, have kind of created this little bedrock of what should be, they're going to spend next year's draft picks probably primarily on offense, the start of a offensive changeover for this team, I think is going to be really important.
Right. I mean, there are some good pieces in place, as you said. You like what you're seeing from Quinshon. You love what you're seeing from Harold Fainin. I think Dylan Sampson's at the very least going to be a good RB2 for a guy like Quinshon moving forward. I think Quinshon's a bell cow, and it's going to be tough to take him off the field, but I do think Sampson is totally capable. And that's a great problem to have, right? When you got an RB2 that you're comfortable with. The offseason has to go heavy on offense. The draft, free agency, whatever it is. At the quarterback spot, I think that they should probably let Shedeur start the rest of the year. I think they need to get some answers there. As of now, it's TBD. It's all hanging in the balance. I don't think that they fully trust him yet. I think that, they've been running a lot of stuff around the line of scrimmage. They're taking him out of the red zone on occasion and running wildcat. That it doesn't look like they want him throwing the ball near the red zone or into the end zone quite yet. So they've got to get that answer on him, and they've got to try to get it within the next 5 games, right? Because after that, it's the offseason time, and they're going to have an early-ish draft pick. They're going to have the capital to move up for one of these quarterbacks if that's the route they want to go. They've got to get an answer, but they've got a head coach, an offensive-minded one, who's won NFL Coach of the Year twice. I don't think they're going to be firing Kevin Stefanski. I think most people would agree that doing so would be a mistake. I think he'd get hired rather quickly elsewhere if they did. So now it's about giving him a supporting cast he could actually build around, because there's just not enough answers on the offensive side of the ball, whether that's at quarterback, maybe multiple needs at wide receiver, multiple needs across the offensive line. Yeah, this offseason is going to have to focus really heavily on the offensive side of the ball.